Hey friends, Jonathan here at Night Knowledge, and today we're looking at the setup and rules to Villagers, a competitive 2 to 5 player game by Sinister Fish Games that also has a solo mode. After a year of a horrible plague, your village has been ravaged and it's up to you as the founder to rebuild, looking to the road for refugees with many different skills and putting them to work to have the most prosperous village. The game has 3 main areas: the road, where we have 6 face-up villagers and a pile of 6 face-down villagers, the basic villagers with the reserve set of cards and the discard pile, and the bank area with all the money. Looking at the areas a little closer, the road always begins with the same 6 face-up villagers. They are the ones with the sign symbol in the bottom right of the card. Each stack in the pile of face-down villagers consists of twice as many players in the game. So in a 2-player game, each stack would have 4 cards, while a 5-player game would have a stack of 10 villager cards. At the bottom of the 2nd and 6th set of face-down villager cards are the market cards. We'll talk about them later, but for now, all you need to know is they mark certain points of the game where you earn gold, which are points. There are 3 basic villagers: lumberjacks, hayer, and miner. The bank is pretty self-explanatory. The player that has lived in the same place the longest is given the first player token, and each player receives 1 founder with the 2 gold side face up, 8 gold, a player aid card, 5 villager cards at random, and a village square. Each player's play area should look like this. The game is made up of 2 phases: the draft phase, where we draft a certain amount of villagers, and the build phase, where we can add those recently acquired villagers or the remaining ones in our hand. In the draft phase, 1 player at a time, starting with the first player, drafts 1 villager from the road. Either one that is face up or one that is face down. Either way, they're placed face up on their village square card. Any face up villager that is drafted is replaced by the top left card of the face down row. The amount of villagers a player can draft is equal to 2 villagers plus any villagers in their village that provides food. The maximum amount of villagers any player can draft is 5. After the draft phase, do 3 things. 1. Discard any face-up villagers with a coin on them. 2. Replace those discarded villager spots with a villager from the reserve deck. And 3. Add coins to each face-up villager, even newly replaced ones. In the build phase, players take turns adding 1 villager from their hand to their village, starting with the first player. This area of the card is called the production chain text. It tells you which villager it can be placed on top of. Solitary suited cards are placed on their own. Many cards require a basic villager to be placed on top of. To obtain one, you must return a card from your hand and place it face down on any of the face down stacks on the road. Placing a basic villager is a free action, and a player can do this up to 3 times per build phase. Players can build 2 villagers in the build phase plus 1 villager per builder symbol that they have in their village, to a maximum of 5 villagers per build phase. Certain villagers have a padlock symbol on their top left, which involves 3 different situations in which money is used to be able to play it. Either 1, you own the card that requires the unlock, in which you add 2 gold to unlocking the card from the bank. Or 2, another player owns the card that requires the unlock, in which you pay that player unlocking card 2 gold by putting the coins on that card. Or 3, no one owns the unlocking card, in which you put 2 coins from your reserve into the bank. When all players are done with the build phase, any villages that do not produce any food flips over their founder card to the food producing side. The first player goes to the next person to their left, and a new draft phase begins unless a market phase is triggered. Whenever the second or sixth stack of face-down cards are emptied, it triggers the market phase after the build phase. In the first market phase, players do two things. 1. Count up any gold money symbol on the topmost villager and add that amount from the bank to their personal stash. 2. Count up any gold from their villagers from unlocking padlocks on other villagers and add that money to their personal stash. Note, do not move the money from those cards. And 3. Do not get money from any villagers with the silver money symbol on them. In the second market phase, players do the exact same thing except, number 1, move the gold from the unlocking cards straight to the stash instead of from the bank. And 2, cards with the silver money symbol is calculated at this time. Once the second market phase is complete, players count how much money they have. The player with the most wins. Ties are broken by the player that has the least amount of villagers in their village. So those are the setup and rules to villagers. This goes to show you that not all good board games are expensive, as I found it at my favorite game store for about $21. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Check out the rest of my channel for other videos on board games, video games, and other fun things. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.